The ultimatum, the morning sky above New York City suddenly turned dark. Not from clouds or storms, but from the massive shadows of alien warships that blotted out the sun. 500 vessels, each the size of Manhattan, hung motionless in Earth's atmosphere like metal vultures waiting to feast. Dr. Sarah Chen was reviewing stellar data at the Deep Space Monitoring Facility in Chile when her screens exploded with warnings. Energy signatures unlike anything in human records flooded her instruments. The readings were impossible. Ships this large should have torn apart Earth's gravity well just by approaching. Yet here they were, defying physics itself. Sarah, are you seeing this? Her colleague, Dr. Martinez, burst into the control room, his face pale with terror. Every major city on Earth is under one of those things. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. The main display flickered to life, showing a creature that could only be described as nightmarish. Standing 8 feet tall, with 4 arms ending in razor-sharp claws, Admiral Zexter of the Korthok Empire gazed down at humanity with eyes like burning coals. His voice, when it came through the translators, was like grinding metal. "Primitive humans of the third planet," he began, each word dripping with contempt. "I am Admiral Zexter, Herald of the Korthok Empire. Your world has been chosen for integration into our dominion. You have exactly 72 hours to surrender unconditionally. Resist, and your species will be extinct before your sun sets again." The transmission cut to scenes of Korthok conquest across the galaxy, worlds reduced to ash, civilizations that once reached for the stars, now serving as slaves in Korthok mining colonies. The message was clear. Resistance was futile across Earth. Panic erupted. Stock markets crashed. Governments held emergency sessions. Military leaders stared at their weapons and knew they were useless against technology this advanced. Earth's most powerful nuclear weapons would barely scratch the hulls of those massive ships. President Williams stood before the United Nations, her voice steady despite the terror in her eyes. "We've consulted with every military expert, every scientist, every strategist on the planet. The conclusion is unanimous. We cannot fight them. We must consider surrender to preserve what remains of humanity." But deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that appeared on no government map, something ancient stirred to life. Banks of computers that had been dark for millions of years suddenly began humming with power. Lights that had never been seen by human eyes flickered on in chambers carved from solid rock. Sarah felt it first, a vibration in the earth itself, so deep it seemed to come from the planet's core. Her instruments registered massive energy buildups at locations that should have been empty ocean or barren land. "This is impossible," she whispered, watching her screens display power signatures that dwarfed the alien fleet above. The first sign something was different came 18 hours after the ultimatum. A shimmering barrier appeared around Earth, invisible to the naked eye, but blazing like a star on Korthok sensors. Admiral Zexter studied the readings with growing unease. No primitive species should possess shield technology this advanced. "Begin preliminary bombardment," he ordered. "Target their major population centers. Show them the price of defiance." The Korthok fleet opened fire. Beams of pure energy that could melt mountains struck Earth's atmosphere. They should have pierced straight through, turning cities into glass. Instead, they splashed harmlessly against the mysterious barrier-like waves against a lighthouse. In the depths of the Mariana Trench, machines older than human civilization registered the attack. Protocols written in a language lost to time activated. Across the solar system, objects that astronomers had catalogued as asteroids or dead moons began to move. Sarah watched in amazement as her instruments detected artificial structures emerging from every planet and moon in the solar system. From Mars came massive cylindrical objects that unfolded like deadly flowers. From Jupiter's moons, sleek ships that seemed to bend space around themselves. From the asteroid belt, weapons platforms that had mimicked rocks for eons beyond counting. Who built these? Dr. Martinez asked, staring at the impossible display. When? How? The answer came from the depths of space itself. A ship larger than any city ever built by humanity emerged from behind Jupiter, its hull gleaming with patterns that hurt to look at directly. It was beautiful and terrible, clearly built by hands that understood both art and war. Admiral Zexter felt fear for the first time in his 1,000-year military career. His sensors couldn't get accurate readings on the massive vessel. It existed, partially in normal space and partially in dimensions his science couldn't even detect. The great ship moved with impossible grace, covering the distance from Jupiter to Earth in mere minutes. It took position directly between the Korthok fleet and the planet, dwarfing even their largest dreadnoughts. Then it spoke. The voice came not through radio waves or quantum transmissions, but directly into the minds of every Korthok warrior. It spoke in their own ancient language, in dialects that predated their empire by millions of years. Children of Korthok Prime, the voice said, carrying the weight of eons, you stand in the presence of the Guardians. This world and its people are under our protection. You have made a grave error in coming here. Admiral Zexter found his voice after several attempts. Who are you? What are you? Our records show no advanced civilization in this sector. We are the legacy of those who came before, the guardianship replied. The children of Earth do not remember us, for that was our gift to them, innocence. But we remember everything. Every world the Korthok Empire has consumed, every species you have enslaved, every crime committed in the name of your expansion. The holographic displays in Korthok command centers showed impossible scenes, their conquered worlds suddenly revealing hidden defenses, their slave colonies protected by barriers of pure energy. Across their empire, guardianships materialized. From empty space, surrounding Korthok fleets with casual ease. This is not possible, Zexter whispered. We are the apex predators of this galaxy. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. You have been allowed to conquer, the Guardian corrected. We withdrew from galactic affairs long ago, hoping younger races would choose wisdom over war. You have proven that hope misplaced. On Earth, Sarah watched her instruments register energy buildups that made the alien fleet's weapons look like candles compared to stars. The Guardian ship was charging, something that would redefine her understanding of physics. Admiral, the Guardian's voice carried a note of finality that made seasoned Korthok warriors tremble. You came here demanding surrender. We offer you the same courtesy. Withdraw your forces immediately. Return to your home systems. Release every slave world, every conquered people. Do this, and you will be allowed to exist. And if we refuse? Zexter asked, though his voice cracked with the question. The space around Earth suddenly filled with ships. Not hundreds or thousands, but millions. Guardian vessels that had been hidden in dimensions beyond Korthok science emerged like schools of luminous fish in a dark ocean. Each one radiated power that could sterilize worlds. Then you will discover why we chose exile over rule, the Guardian ship replied. You have 60 seconds to decide. The Korthak admiral stared at displays, showing guardian fleets throughout his empire. Every Korthok world was surrounded. Every fleet was trapped. In one moment, the galaxy's greatest military power had become helpless children facing forces they could not comprehend. "Choose wisely, Admiral," the guardian voice continued as the countdown began. "Your next words will determine whether the Korthok Empire continues to exist or becomes nothing more than a cautionary tale told around campfires on distant worlds." 59, 58, 50-7, the fate of two civilizations hung in the balance. As an ancient countdown approached, 0, asterisk. The reckoning Admiral Zexter's pride had been forged in the fires of 1,000 conquests. For 800 years, he had never retreated from any battle. The Korthak Empire had built its reputation on the principle that they never backed down, never showed weakness. As the Guardian countdown reached 30 seconds, his warrior's honor overrode his survival instincts. "All ships," he commanded, his voice carrying across the Korthak fleet. "Battle formation. We did not conquer half the galaxy by bowing to threats. Show these ghosts what Korthok steel can do." The response from the massive Guardian ship was immediate and terrifying in its simplicity. So be it. What happened next would be remembered as the shortest war in galactic history. The Guardian ship didn't fire weapons or launch attacks. Instead, reality itself seemed to bend around the Korthok fleet, space folded like origami. And suddenly half of Admiral Zexter's ships found themselves scattered across empty regions of space, their engines dead, their weapons offline. But that was just the beginning. Across the galaxy, on every world the Korthok Empire had claimed, Guardian ships materialized, not with violence, but with liberation. On the crystal mines of Vega 7, where enslaved Cephrians had labored for 3 centuries, shimmering barriers appeared around the workers. Korthok overseers found their weapons transformed into harmless light. On the industrial world of Kepler-4 for 2b, massive Guardian constructs rose from the ground itself, revealing that the planet had been under protection all along. The conquered populations weren't slaves. They had been actors in a play performed for Korthok eyes while their real civilization thrived in hidden cities beneath the surface. Sarah watched these impossible scenes unfold on her monitors, transmitted by Guardian technology that made human satellite systems look like smoke signals. "They've been watching," she whispered in amazement. "All this time, they've been protecting those worlds while letting the Korthok think they were winning." Dr. Martinez leaned over her shoulder, studying the displays. "But who are they? Where did they come from?" Their answer came from the Guardian ship itself. The massive vessel projected a holographic image into Earth's atmosphere, visible from every point on the planet. The hologram showed Earth as it had been millions of years ago, but not the primitive world archaeology suggested. Instead, it revealed a planet of soaring cities, ships that moved between stars like birds between trees, and humans whose technology made current civilization look like cave paintings. The Guardian's voice echoed in the minds of every human on Earth, gentle but carrying the weight of ages. "Children of the Third World, know your true heritage. You are not the first humans. Your ancestors once walked among the stars as we do now, builders of wonders, guardians of peace." The hologram shifted, showing these ancient humans at the height of their power. They hadn't conquered worlds, they had nurtured them. Alien species thrived under their guidance, and the galaxy had known an age of unprecedented growth and cooperation. But power corrupts, the Guardian continued. Even the wisest can fall to pride and domination. Your ancestors saw this happening to themselves and made the greatest sacrifice any civilization can make. They chose to fade away rather than become tyrants. The image showed the great exodus. Massive ships carrying the entire advanced human civilization into the void between galaxies, leaving behind only automated guardians and sealed worlds where new human populations could grow in innocence. Earth was seeded with your ancestors' genetic memory, the Guardian explained, but without their knowledge or their power. You were given the chance to rediscover wisdom without the burden of cosmic responsibility. We Guardians remained to ensure your safety as you grew. Admiral Zexther, still trapped in his paralyzed flagship, watched this revelation with growing horror. His species' entire expansion had been observed by beings who could have stopped them at any time. Every victory, every conquest, every moment of triumph had been permitted by forces that could have ended the Orc Empire with a thought. The Guardian ship turned its attention back to the trapped fleet. Admiral, you have witnessed the truth. Your empire was allowed to exist because we hoped you might choose a better path. Instead, you chose conquest and cruelty. Around Earth, more Guardian ships continued to emerge from dimensions human physics couldn't explain. Each vessel was unique, clearly crafted by intelligence that viewed shipbuilding as both science and art. Some resembled vast cathedrals of metal and light. Others flowed like liquid starlight given form. We offer you one final choice, the Guardian voice continued. True surrender. Not the domination you demanded from Earth, but genuine peace. Return to your home worlds. Release every conquered people. Dismantle your war machine. Choose cooperation over conquest. And if we agree, Zexther asked, his voice barely a whisper, then you will be welcomed as children finally ready to grow up, the Guardian replied. Your people will be taught. Your worlds will thrive. The galaxy will know peace as it did in the ancient days. Sarah felt tears streaming down her face as she watched the Guardian displays show visions of what the galaxy could become. Worlds working together, sharing knowledge and resources. Alien species exploring the stars not as conquerors but as partners. It was beautiful beyond imagination. But Admiral Zexther had one more card to play. Deep in the Orc fleet's most secure vessel, a doomsday weapon charged to life. If he could not have victory, he would have revenge. The Annihilator could destroy entire star systems, turning them into expanding waves of nothingness. If we must fall, he whispered to his weapons officers, we take this system with us. The Guardian response was swift and absolute. The doomsday weapon didn't explode or malfunction. Instead, it simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, the next it was gone as if it had never been built. Such weapons will not exist in the galaxy we are building. The Guardian stated simply. Across the Orc Empire, similar scenes played out. Every planet killer, every world-breaking weapon, every tool of mass destruction simply vanished. The Guardian fleets didn't need to fight. They were rewriting the rules of reality itself. The war was over before it had truly begun. Admiral Zexther, his fleet powerless and his empire transformed in a matter of hours, finally spoke the words that would reshape galactic civilization. We ... we surrender, unconditionally. But the Guardian ship's response surprised everyone. There is no surrender in the galaxy we are building. There is only joining. Admiral Zexther, you have been a warrior all your life. We offer you the chance to be something greater, a guardian of peace instead of a bringer of war. The transformation that followed was witnessed by every sentient being in the galaxy. The Korthok fleet didn't return home in defeat. Instead, Guardian ships escorted them to worlds they had conquered, where former slaves greeted their former oppressors not with vengeance, but with the chance for redemption. On Earth, the Guardian ship remained as humanity grappled with the revelation of their true heritage. President Williams stood before the United Nations once more, but now her words carried hope instead of fear. "We have learned that we are not alone in the universe," she announced. "More than that, we have learned that we are part of something greater than we ever imagined. The Guardians have offered to help us reclaim our place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as shepherds of peace." Sarah found herself chosen as Earth's first Guardian liaison, her expertise in stellar phenomena making her invaluable in bridging human and Guardian science. As she stood on the bridge of the massive Guardian vessel, looking out at stars that were no longer distant lights but future destinations, she felt the weight of cosmic responsibility settling on her shoulders. "It won't be easy," the Guardian AI told her, its voice now warm and almost human. "Growing up never is. But your species has something we lost long ago, the ability to start fresh, to build something better than what came before." The months that followed saw changes that redefined civilization itself. Guardian technology allowed instant communication across the galaxy. Worlds that had been isolated for millennia suddenly found themselves part of a growing community. The former Korthok Empire became the first alliance of species working together toward common goals. Admiral Zexter, now serving as a peace envoy, rather than a military commander, visited Earth to formally establish diplomatic relations. Standing before the same United Nations where humanity had once contemplated surrender, he spoke words that would echo through history. "We came here as conquerors and found ourselves conquered by something we had forgotten existed. Hope, humanity, has reminded us that strength without compassion is merely destruction with purpose. We pledge our former empire's resources to building the galaxy our children deserve." As Earth took its first steps back toward the stars, guided by the wisdom of the Guardians and tempered by the lessons of history, the galaxy entered a new age. It would not be an age of empire or conquest, but of exploration and cooperation. And in the depths of space, the ancient Guardian ships continued their eternal vigil, watching over a galaxy finally ready to grow up. The surrender demand that had nearly ended humanity instead became the beginning of the greatest civilization the universe had ever seen. Sometimes the greatest victories come not from fighting, but from having the wisdom to know when it's time to lay down arms and start building something better. Asterisk.